Black Phone 2 had a huge challenge to overcome making a sequel with the death of the grabber in the first film, and you're like, well, how do you do this again? I thought they did the best they could with that concept, even though it still traps the movie a bit, and it takes away of that balance of supernatural to realism that the first film did so well, where this feels extremely supernatural. So I think some people might be turned off on how much, and you kind of really got to buy into it to enjoy this film. But with that, I feel like it's really well done. This is Scott Derrickson. He makes everything count, every visual count, every story beat count. He's a great director and a really good writer. This feels like it was based off a Stephen King book that was never written. That's probably not a coincidence because the first film was based off a short story Joe Hill wrote, Stephen King's son. So you really feel the Stephen King influence in this film. What was so strong about the first film is the acting of Mason Thames and Madeline McGraw. So it's great they still had them as the two leads here. But it shifts gears a bit where this time the story is Gwen's story and you really get to explore her very fascinating character. And both actors deliver again. And part of that and their great performances is the strength of these films is the relationships with the siblings, and it really is the core and heart of it, and they keep that, which was really smart, and it keeps this story going in a more interesting way with the characters. I think that Ethan Hawke does a phenomenal job again as the grabber, and this one is more scary. There is more jump scares, and there is more horrifying visuals. However, it just doesn't feel as balanced as the first film in tone, where I feel like with the first film, what was so great about that movie was going back and forth between feeling this realism of fear of what's actually happening and then adding in a supernatural part of it that gets you through it, where this is really, really supernatural and it really goes all in on that. And it makes it a little tougher, and I feel like that was already going to be a challenge, and I don't know if it fully overcame that, but I thought they did a great job at least attempting to. But with those restraints, I still think it's an inferior film to the first film, but still a really good film. And I think it's totally worth the time and another solid film made by Scott Derrickson with great performances. And again, it is more scary and it just has a lot of supernatural. And if you're into that, I think you'll really enjoy it. Still, if you're not as into the supernatural parts of the first film, it might be a little bit of a turnoff here. But overall, I am going to give this film an 8.3.